Hey, Self-Furies. So I managed to pull myself away from listening to the A New Beginning theme on repeat and wallowing in self-pity to make a video! In the last season of Race to the Edge, we were introduced to the Hooded Stranger. He's badass after Hiccup, and he's not giving away any of his plans. Who is he? What's he got to do with Drago Bloodfist? And what is he doing in the archipelago? Let's get started. The Hooded Stranger was first introduced in Last Auction Heroes, described by Riker as our special guest. He stays low out of the spotlight and he never speaks a word. And before the auction begins, Vigo firmly states that things have to go well, because if they do, then he will be established as the foremost dragon trader in the region. That the auction will bring the dragon traders so much gold that the riders will never be able to stop them. But when we look at the auction, there's not more than a dozen buyers there to purchase dragons. Seriously, look how many there are. We have to ask, how could this auction really establish Vigo as the primary dragon trader in the region? The answer is the Hooded Man. Oh, he might stay silent throughout the entire auction, never bidding on anything and having his hands together like this, because what other way is there to assure the audience that you're not evil? But when Toothless is captured and put on sale, we see that he hands over a massive sack of gold to buy him. How much gold? Well, Riker makes clear to Snotlout that only the richest people were allowed at the auction. I mean, Snotlout had to show him an entire chest of gold before he was allowed in. Let's be clear, that was all of Burke's gold, and the Hooded Man just handed over a sack that would have been equal to half of Burke's entire stash. That was what Vigo meant when he said it would bring in so much gold to the dragon hunters and establish them as the primary dragon traders in the region. Simply put, they wanted to get into business with their special guest, the Hooded Stranger. In fact, with so few people, my theory is that the auction was almost entirely set up just to entice this Hooded Stranger into business with the dragon hunters. But what makes the Hooded Man so special? Clearly his killer facial hair. No. We already know that he is rich as fuck for his connection to one of the most dangerous men that Hiccup and Toothless would ever face. Drago Bloodfist. What? How do we know? We can very clearly see a symbol pinning the man's cloak and on the man's belt. It has two sets of diverging horns with a bulbous snout, like a monstrous nightmare beneath a sword. And where have we seen that symbol before? It's a symbol used by none other than, guess who? Drago Bloodfist. There's also a number of other places that we see this symbol pop up throughout the series, but I'm gonna get into those in another video. And finally, I can actually tell you who the Hooded Stranger is, because in his second episode, Midnight Scrum, it's revealed that his name is Krogan, though we only see it in the credits after he speaks for the first time. He begs Hiccup to pull him up when they're hanging over a cliff, and he has a deep, thick, accented voice, just like Drago. And funnily enough, when I looked up the name Krogan, I found that it had a strong prominence in Eastern Europe, just like where we theorized that Drago Bloodfist originally came from. Krogan also wears a thick dragon skin piece of armor, which we also see Drago do, but we don't see a lot of the people in his army do. Almost like wearing dragon skin was a badge of loyalty and honor to Drago. More than that though, the symbol on Krogan's cloak and on his belt isn't just Drago's symbol. As far as we can tell, it's the symbol that only appears on Drago's flagship in his fleet. As you can see here, all the other ships that we see in his army tend to have different symbols. But what do all of these little details mean for Krogan? My theory is that being given the honor to wear dragon skin for armor and having the right to wear that symbol on his cloak means that he doesn't just work for Drago, but he knows him personally. We know from Eret, son of Eret, that Drago purchases dragons for his army from dragon hunters. Vigo knows this too, and he wants to secure that business relationship with Krogan to get access to all of Drago's wealth. But why was Krogan sent to the archipelago though? There's a reason that Krogan snatches away the gold, stays quiet, and slips away into the dark after the riders disrupt the auction. Krogan really doesn't want to attract the attention of the chiefs and tribes of the archipelago, especially Hiccup's dad, Stolt the Vast. See, Drago plans to use his mostly naval army to conquer the world. Drago has come to the archipelago from Eastern Europe once before to speak with all of the chiefs, before he killed all of them, and Drago has clearly set his eyes on the archipelago once again. Killing a dozen of the chiefs in the region would probably put a dent in the international relations side of Drago's army, and if they knew he was coming, the man who wiped out all of their chiefs all those years ago, the tribes would rally together and go to war against him. Krogan isn't just looking to secure more dragons for Drago's army, he is scouting out the area before Drago arrives, staying quiet in hopes to give Drago a surprise attack. And it's a task that Drago would only trust to one of his closest advisors, just like Krogan. There's still a number of questions that I will address in part 2 of this video, like what role will Krogan play in season 5 of Race to the Edge? And why would Krogan save Hiccup's life in Midnight Scrum? These questions will all be answered soon enough. But before we finish, today's featured Sub-Fury art comes from Kyle. And yes, we are going to do a featured Sub-Fury art piece each time because I have been seeing some amazing stuff featuring like Toothless and Mishka. Seriously, just gorgeous stuff. This one was done by Kyle Boal. I was seriously impressed with it. Just look at the detail in it. You do some awesome art pieces, Sub-Furies. You can send me more art or physical things that you've made or you want to send me at the address down in the description. But that's all from me. My question to you guys is, who is your favorite villain from How to Train Your Dragon or Race to the Edge? The Red Death, Vigo, Drago, Riker? You tell me down in the comments below. In the meantime, I'd love for you all to follow me on Twitter, Wattpad, Facebook, read my books, or email me, or send me stuff that you want to in the links and the address in the description below. Stay nerdy, Sub-Furies, and I'll see you in the future.